We have some rare, great news to share on the issue of net neutrality today. Now, we've gone back and forth on this issue up until this point. So, for example, there were court cases that went separate ways. There were hints that the FCC was going to sell out to the internet service providers and do what we don't want them to do and what progressives were against from the beginning. But in a last-minute turn of events, we won. We actually won. Quote, Federal Communications Commission Chairman Tom Wheeler received a big win for net neutrality advocates on Wednesday, asking for strong authority to reinforce open internet protections. He said the following, quote, my enforceable bright line rules will ban paid prioritization and the blocking and throttling of lawful content and services. So this is really important here, and according to HuffPost, quote, net neutrality advocates will also be watching to see whether the FCC proposal will provide any additional loopholes for telecommunications and cable companies. I hope that they keep a close eye on that because there's always the threat of some sort of loophole being put in there. In fact, I would kind of be surprised if that's not the case. But all the evidence as of right now and all the articles today seem to be crystal clear that, in fact, we did win on this issue. So we get exactly what we wanted, which, again, is so rare. It's like I don't even know how to react to it. I'm so used to us being defeated that I'm like, my body's in a state of shock. I'm like, what do we do? I don't understand. Now, I want to dive into this deeper, though, and figure out why did we get what we wanted. Well, on one side of this debate and of this battle, you had the internet service providers like Comcast, for example, and Verizon, and they were lobbying the government like crazy to try to make it so that they had more control over the internet. And on the other hand, you had companies like Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo who said, no, let's keep the internet exactly as it is right now. So that was the debate. The debate was you had Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo saying, leave the internet exactly as it is right now and draft FCC rules that makes it crystal clear that you cannot have internet service providers tweak with the open nature and the neutral nature of the internet. And then again, you had Comcast and Verizon who said, well, no, that's us. We are the internet service providers, and we think that we have a right to speed up and slow down whatever websites we choose to. So, in other words, we, Comcast, could force different companies to pay us money, to pay us a certain percentage of their profits, and then we let them have, you know, a good speed when you go onto that website. But if they don't pay us the ransom that we're asking for, then we have the right to slow them down as much as we want and make it so that if you have Comcast as your provider, if you have Verizon or whoever it may be, they might slow up certain websites that are your absolute favorite. So the FCC had to step in and say, no. You don't have the right to control and change the speed of the internet as you deem fitting based off of who's paying you money and who's not paying you money. The internet is supposed to be open and neutral and fair to everybody. And think about how many small businesses would be crushed. It's fundamentally anti-competitive to allow Comcast and Verizon and the rest of these companies to slow things down whenever they please. Because if you have a startup company and they don't have the capital to pay their bribe to get good speed to go to their website may never take off in the first place. So I thought that Comcast and Verizon were going to win. Now, why did I think that? Because all the evidence pointed to the fact that they were going to win, because all the articles I was reading indicated that you had people who were former lobbyists for Comcast and Verizon in leading positions at the FCC, including Tom Wheeler himself. This guy was a lobbyist for the internet service providers. So to me, it was like open and shut. Oh, wait a second. It's over. It's over. The internet as we know it, the neutral nature of the internet is gone because the lobbyists have taken over the system. Of course, Comcast and Verizon were paying the politicians heavily, too. They, of course, give massive campaign contributions to the Democrats and the Republicans. So I thought, hey, I see the numbers, I see the evidence, I know the way politics works in every other way, so it's a wrap. I mean, the internet's going to be not around in the same form that it is right now. But Where I was wrong is I didn't see the rest of the evidence. The rest of the evidence, there weren't as many articles written about it, so I was totally blind to it. And as a result, I had bad information to make my prediction. Because when you see that the other names that are against this, or in other words, the other names that are on our side are gigantic names as well, then it's a whole new ballgame. I mean, when you have Google on your side and Yahoo on your side and Amazon on your side and other companies like that, Facebook, we're talking about a powerhouse here with endless money, endless capital to also bribe politicians and to try to get our way. So I think the reason why we won is honestly because our side had more money. There were more big companies on our side, but also I think there's a lot of investment from hedge funds and investment banks in these small businesses that are startups, that are online startups, and nobody has more money that they give to the politicians than the investment banks and the hedge funds who are also investing in the small business startup websites. So between the mix of the biggest of the big companies, Google, Amazon, Yahoo, Facebook, you name it, Microsoft, between them being on our side and then also essentially the people on Wall Street on our side, that money outweighed the money on the other side. And even though we have a former lobbyist for the ISPs as the head of the FCC, couldn't override it. And again, President Obama ended up being on our side on this as well. And he, at least to this point, stood by his word. Because, number one, I think he actually might agree in principle with keeping the internet as it is right now, and he doesn't want to see the internet be destroyed under his watch and become less free under his watch. So I think he's on our side anyway, but also I think the money from the bigger corporations spoke the loudest with him as well. So as of right now, we have a win, but understand something very clearly, man. The battle's never over, because this idea is still planted in the minds of the people at Verizon, of the people at Comcast, of other people at the FCC. And this idea is not going to die. So we need to make sure that our opposition doesn't die either.